Greetings, ghosts and ghouls, and welcome to Bad Boo, a podcast conjured for the curious where we explore all things frights, flicks, and folklore.
We are your haunting hosts, Sam and Jodie, guiding you through every episode of occult exploration and holding your hand the whole way through.
So if you like the sound of spooks, screams, and symphonies, keep listening as we unravel our mystic matter for this week.
In today's episode, we'll be delving into the origins of horror genre and why it came to be one of the largest and fastest growing genres of modern media.
Because horror is exploding right now, and
is.
it's absolutely everywhere.
It is.
It's taking over the world completely, and for those people that don't really know where it comes from or what horror is, it must be really confusing that it's just everywhere right now.
Yeah.
So to answer your question of what is horror, there's an overall definition and then also a literary and film media definition. So we'll give you the real definition first. It's described as an overwhelming feeling of extreme fear, shock and disgust, or the quality of something that causes these feelings within a person. With the literature and media meaning, it focuses on frightening an audience or featuring dark themes such as supernatural elements, monsters, or psychological torment.
Interesting.
So, sounds to me like anything that scares you, or anything that induces fear is deemed as horror.
Of course it is.
Right?
Yeah. That is it at its core.
Yeah.
Something, fear is the tool to controlling your audience or manipulating their emotions.
And fear is the main key.
It is the key
to horror.
It's the key to a successful horror film.
So then
100%.
What is fear then? That's the next question. We know what horror is, so how do we go from fear to horror?
You have to understand where it comes from.
Exactly.
And what it is.
So what is fear?
So fear can be described as a primal protective emotion in response to a perceived danger or threat, triggering a physiological flight or fight response or psychological changes to prepare the body for action. So
basically it's that overwhelming, petrified, natural instinctive feeling of panic and triggering that fight or flight response that every person has just got built into them as a primal instinct.
Yeah.
And that's why horror films scare you, because they play on that and they use that psychological warfare almost to torment your own brain.
It is. It can also be a way, I feel, of unraveling some parts of you didn't know were there, or fears that you didn't know existed.
100%. It's always triggering things, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a trigger for, whether it's trauma or letting go of an emotion. It's a tool. I said earlier, it's a massive tool. And it's manipulative, but in a very entertaining way.
100%. And that's, I think, what begs the question, though, is when people like ourselves, for example, really enjoy horror, there's a lot of people that don't understand that, right? There's a lot of people that think, why do you like horror? Why do you like looking at things that are covered in blood or that are really sinister or that are so dark all the time? Does it not make you feel dark or down when you're watching these things? Does it not scare you? Blah, 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 blah. And obviously, that's because people interpret horror in different ways.
They do.
But generally speaking, for the people that don't have that relationship with horror, or they don't have that kind of idealized hobby around it, why do people like horror? If it is this psychological torment that we've just discovered, then why do people like it?
On paper, it sounds weird.
Yeah, why do people like tormenting themselves mentally?
What is then so entertaining about seeing violence or something that psychologically screws with your brain sometimes?
Exactly. But it has actually been scientifically proven why people like horror. And that is because it's seen as a safer way to experience really intense emotions of thrill. And it's basically stimulating that part of your brain that leads to excitement and then that second of relief after a danger has passed. So where that would have happened back in the days with cavemen and Neanderthals, being hunted or hunting their prey.
The saber-toothed tigers.
Saber-toothed tigers,
Absolutely.
time of mammoths, all that type of stuff. obviously there would have been moments where they didn't know what was going to be in the cave that they were walking into.
No.
But as soon as they wave their torch in front of them and they find out that there's nothing there, even though they heard a noise, then there's that relief afterwards. The same as when you hear a noise in your house and you go and try and figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And you walk with so much anticipation just to realise it was your dog who had knocked over their water bowl.
Yeah.
Or it was your cat knocking something off the table.
Or your gran falling over.
Yeah, or your gran falling over. Exactly. But that's why people like horror. It's because it's a safe way to recreate these natural feelings of excitement and relief. Because those feelings actually come from releases of adrenaline and dopamine in your head.
Yeah.
That are just creating energetic, like positive feelings. Because those situations aren't real, especially when you're watching a film.
Exactly. It's the same as when people go and seek out these adrenaline sort of hits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's at theme parks
Mm-hmm.
or through horror movies, video games, doesn't matter, you know, what type of way it is.
Well, that's
it's
what
still
watching a horror film is, right? It's an
Yeah.
adrenaline hit while you're watching it.
But it's still the same way. It releases it in the same way, and you still feel the same, you know, sense of fear.
Mm-hmm.
But you know it's safe in the back of your brain, which is what makes it entertaining
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day.
And what do we call people who really, really enjoy theme parks?
Adrenaline junkies.
Exactly, adrenaline junkies.
Yeah.
Which leads us on to one of the 3 types of people who actually enjoy viewing horror.
Yeah.
So these, I'm assuming, have been scientifically proven. Feel free to research for yourselves. These are just research points that I found across my many scatters of the internet about this subject today. But there are 3 kind of definitive types of viewers for horror.
Mm.
The first one are adrenaline junkies.
Adrenaline junkies. People that seek out, you know, very intense experiences. You know, that enjoy the thrill of the scare.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the thrill of feeling fear. You know, in that sense of unknown. It's like when you go up to a theme park ride or a big roller coaster.
Yeah.
And you've never been on it before.
And you're there like...
You're in awe at the same time as thinking,
oh my God.
oh my.
What am I doing?
Why am I here?
Why am I here?
It's when you get to the front of the queue line.
Yeah.
You get to the pens, you know, standing in front of the gates, and you're thinking, oh, why am I here? You know, and but it's not until you come off, oftentimes, that you realise that was great.
100%.
And you know it's safe.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing as horror fans.
It's why people are so, like, intimidated when they go and experience things that are deemed as like slightly unsafe, you know, like in the nature that they have. So it's like when you go to a theme park for the first time and you're about to go on your very first ride, and you're thinking, why am I here? What am I doing? Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then you get off and you think, actually, that wasn't too bad. I actually really enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
That was like pretty fun. It was really good. And it's the same with watching horror films. I feel like, obviously, depending on the person you are, depending on your interests, you watch these things and you're thinking in the first, like, 10, 20 minutes, what am I doing? Oh my God, this is so tense. Like, ugh.
Exactly.
And then by the end of it, you're like, oh, actually, that was really cool. I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
And it's because of the adrenaline and the dopamine and the feeling of, like, accomplishment that you get because you're recreating that accomplishment in your own house as opposed to going outside and seeking danger.
Yeah, which we do not recommend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not. There's a very stark difference between that. You know, obtaining that fear on an entertaining level in a way that in the comfort of your own home, and actually witnessing real life horror. There's a stark difference.
Yeah, 100%.
It's entertaining. It's all entertaining.
It is all entertaining.
You come out of it. You come out of a great movie at the cinema and you think that was great, even though the whole way through you were white knuckling. Yeah. You know.
And that leads us perfectly into our second type of horror viewer, which are the white knucklers. Yeah. So unlike adrenaline junkies, these people are actually like genuinely afraid of what's going on in their surroundings at the time, but they downregulate their own kind of feelings so that they can manage the experience that they're going through and eventually find enjoyment in the act of surviving whatever has frightened them at the time.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of fits, like, personally, I think I fit in that one the most so far out of them.
I'd say so.
It's like, I'll be absolutely terrified of what's going on, but as soon as I get to the other side of it and everything's okay, like, I'm off the coaster, I'm out the cinema, I'm back in reality.
You're safe again.
I'm safe again, and everything's fine. Until you hear that little creak outside your door and you think, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's
the
happening.
very thing
They're
I've
here.
just seen. It's here.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, horror movies do take you on that almost roller coaster ride themselves, metaphorically speaking.
100%.
You know, you got that lift or that anticipation and that fear. You know, it carries through. You come off the end and it's fine. It's the same as a roller coaster ride, same as a horror movie.
Yep.
Very similar.
So similar.
Yeah.
Which is actually really crazy to think about, because when you think about our interests in particular, we are like, even subconsciously, we already enjoy theme parks so much, and it wasn't really until we started exploring this subject we were actually like, you know what, they're really quite similar in how they make you feel and why they work how they do. Yeah.
That's why it's perfect when they start blending these rides, you know. You got like Saw the Ride at Thorpe Park.
Absolutely amazing.
A horror movie roller coaster.
Yeah.
Makes it 10 times better. And that ride is so uncomfortable. But I like that.
It's like, out of all the rides at Alton Towers, like, obviously the music for such a place is really iconic, but the one that I remember is like the advert for 13 when it originally came out was absolutely terrifying.
Of course it was.
Because I was a kid when it came out, and it's about like haunted things, and I'm pretty sure there was like a dead little girl with like a doll or something like that.
Yeah.
And
very
I was
much
like,
played into horror sort of stereotypes.
And then you go on the ride and you're like, oh my God, this is so cool, because they played into the entire thing. Yeah. And it's just like, it's not even just a sensation, it's an experience.
It is. Very much so. That's again, you know, like, people just, like you said earlier in the definition about surviving the fright. Yeah. And people enjoy that idea of just going through it. Yeah. That journey.
Exactly. You know? And because God knows there are other things to people be going through. Yeah. So if you want to be going through like the fright of watching a horror film or the excitement of going on a roller coaster, then do what you got to do, because our next category of people who view horror are the dark copers.
The dark
Which
copers.
I think is like a really cool name for a group. I think that sounds absolutely sick.
Sounds like a good band.
It does.
Let's go and listen to the Dark Copers.
Like, hi, we're the Dark Copers, and this is our new song, Bad Boo.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
That's my...
Please don't steal that idea.
Yeah, please don't.
That's ours.
We're copywriting that.
Yeah, that's ours.
Yeah, there's a little TM at the end of it.
As of today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are the Dark Copers.
Yeah.
And Bad Boo.
Yeah.
Who knows? If anybody wants to see a band, leave it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, if you're listening on YouTube, please leave a comment.
If you play an instrument, audition for the Dark Copers.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Auditions, DM us, Instagram at Bad Boo Productions.
Bad Boo Productions.
Yeah. Amazing.
But going back on a real note to the Dark Copers, because these are real people, they use scary content to help them deal with their own anxieties and negative feelings about their livelihoods. Yeah. Which, perfectly understandable. It's like when you go and talk to your friend and you're like, oh, there's so much going on in my life right now. Tell me about your problems so I stop thinking about my own. It's like, I'm going to go and watch this to take away from my own things that I'm going through right now.
In a weird, twisted way. It's like seeing other people go through some sort of demise. Yeah. You know, to escape your own.
Yeah, exactly.
It's people going through worse than what you are.
Well, it's a momentary escape, isn't it?
It is.
And not only...
Re-evaluates / repurposes your own problems.
Yeah, because not only are you watching it, but you're hearing it, and that induces feelings, so it feels like you're experiencing it as well firsthand while you're there. Yeah.
This is such an interesting way, and I think that, you know, people that do enjoy horror films do use that as to an extent. I think that is something that people adopt.
I think 100% that's true, and especially because it's such a kind of sought out feeling, especially in modern eras where there are such big available audiences for these things. even when you look back though, like as a society, human beings have always looked for fright. They've always looked to be on edge. They've always looked for spooky things.
Yeah.
It's part of the human, like, kind of intuition to be curious about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, like, where did it all come from? Like, where did it start? Where did these ideas of, like, mystery and horror and anything spooky kind of come from?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, you could go all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much in folklore.
Yeah.
Religion, you know, talking about the ideas of, you know, death and demons and witches and vampires, werewolves, ghosts. You know, all those stories are they sort of talked about the unknown.
Yeah. Well, they were
To an
people's
extent.
easiest reasons for things that were going on that they didn't really understand, right? So
there wasn't a reason, and you know, it very much could be down to interpretation. But many, you know, people that had like a certain imagination could, you know, whether the things that actually happened were true, or whether these creatures are true, or whether these people have got such an imagination that they come up with these like iconic ideas.
Well, I think especially even with stories like that go back to like the Greek and Roman times, like the Hippolytus, I'm not quite sure how to say that, but that has a whole story about like death and resurrection and coming back from the dead. So it's like even the Greeks and Romans are talking about it, then it's got to be something that's kind of programmed into us.
Yeah,
you know,
I think it's woven into our very blood and bones.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Which is funny because the entire genre is about blood and bones.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That is, you know, it's blood and bones. You see that a lot in horror.
Mm-hmm. Blood, bones, and bad booze.
Blood, bones, and bad booze.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to see more of blood, bones, and bad boo, you know, if you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe.
Yep. And hit that like button as well.
Yeah. So
that you are then like part of the boo crew.
Yeah. Yeah. You just click it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, leave a comment. Let us know.
And it's free.
It is free. Let us know what you believe as well. You know, any sort of folklore tales that you believe could be the start of horror.
Yeah. Or even if you're religious, let us know in your own like religions that you believe in, if there's any tales of demons or folklore within your religions and where that comes from.
Yeah.
Like I know, what is it? I think in Islam there are jinns instead of demons.
Yeah.
Or like jinn is the word for demon, like generally speaking. Obviously you have the Bible, which has like all of the different kind of demons that the devil controls and all these types of things. But then for people that don't have that necessary relation to like religious practices, they still have their own cultural kind of backgrounds, especially like predominantly in European countries, where it's about like vampires and werewolves and like ghosts. Obviously these are subjects all across the world. It's
existed for many years.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like obviously witches was like a huge thing in America and in the UK. So it really just completely goes back to like cavemen and the dawn of time. Yeah. It's a really similar subject with aliens as well.
Yeah.
Like people seeing cave drawings of things in the sky and like not knowing what they are.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Trying to make a sense of something.
Exactly.
That's often what horror movies do.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a sense of something.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, can't it be explained?
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting about it.
Exactly. It's so interesting. And I think that the fact that this was only kind of really brought to light through literature, because that was the original birth of horror, was through Gothic horror literature.
Yeah.
With stories like Frankenstein back in 1818.
Yeah.
Like Mary Shelley kind of took these myths that were told around her that she knew about, these stories, these fairy tales, and really grew them into their own like things and mixed in these fears that people had at the time with them. and not only making her own mad science as it was, because people are obviously thinking, why are you writing about all of this really crazy stuff?
You think back in 1818,
Yeah,
writing about that is
completely like unorthodox.
100%.
Yeah, it's completely out of
would
it.
have been unheard of and unseen or unread.
And from a woman at the time as well.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been completely deemed, like, insane for her to be doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But she did it, and Frankenstein is one of the biggest worldwide, like, novels nowadays.
It is.
And it will be for the rest of the
iconic.
time. It's a classic.
It's a staple for, you know, all horror.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that sort of mixture of talking about how far science can go with sort of religion. It very much talks about science versus sort of religion.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of ongoing debate.
Or even
what is real, what is not,
and
what is right and what is wrong.
Takes that debate and it flips it on its head to say maybe it's not science, maybe it's not religion, maybe it's this entire new world of the paranormal and the supernatural.
Maybe the coming of, you know, the marriage of both of them has created this brand new entity.
And that is the beautiful thing I think about horror, is that nobody knows. Like, no. It's entirely its own entity. It's entirely down to your perception. It's a thing of itself. And everybody can have a little bit for themselves in whatever way they wanted to.
Yeah, it's all down to interpretation and taste. It's like your favourite dinner.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know that we just said about the 1818 Frankenstein, which was obviously a novel. But even before that, there were kind of shorter written stories that actually kicked off the Gothic tradition of horror within literature. And one of the main ones was by Walpole, and it was the Castle of Otranto, which had like haunted castles and like family curses and like supernatural things. And people marked that as the blueprint of Gothic horror.
Yeah.
And that was all the way back in 1764. So that's already...
That's even earlier.
Even earlier than Frankenstein.
Yeah. It's those old tropes, again, like haunted castles, again, like you say, and curses and supernatural things. It's, they say it's been woven into culture for centuries.
Well, they're all still things that we're seeing today, aren't we?
Yeah.
Especially with supernatural events and things like that. Yeah. The new Conjuring being released, that's literally like supernatural events that people claim to be true.
It's centuries later and it's still being...
Yeah.
Stories being told, stories being...
The same techniques being used.
You know, and reinterpreted and shown to new audiences. It's part of culture.
Yeah.
You know, not just in Western culture, but worldwide.
And if anything, these stories are still being written. It's just that they're being turned into scripts now instead of novels. There's still people writing horror novels out there, obviously.
Of course there are, yeah.
But now these old-time classic stories that were probably deemed as like crazy and useless at the time are now becoming these huge multi-million pound industries and universes and projects and
it's a very satisfying evolution.
It is, especially even with what's really interesting about the Castle of Otranto that we just mentioned is it has this this trick that is associated with the actual kind of synopsis of the book, which is that it's called the found document trick. And basically the writer claimed that his book was a translation of a medieval manuscript that he had found, which basically is alluding to the fact that it was a real story from medieval times.
It's crazy.
And like we were just saying, exactly. Whether it's real or not, that is still used today.
Yeah, that technique is seen in so many films, you know, especially within like found footage movies. Like, you know, you've got Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity is all either based on something like existing or it's made to look so that it's like found footage. And you have things obviously like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. You know, which is, again, it's based on a true story. And, you know, you alluded to earlier, the Conjuring movies, again, you know, based off of Ed and Lorraine Warren's cases that they, you know, explored.
And that's what I mean. These were all like meant to be kind of singular film projects initially, Whereas the Blair Witch turned into, was it 2 or 3 films in the end?
I believe it's 2.
Yeah.
I believe that there was a kind of like a requel, type of thing.
There was 2 films for that. Paranormal Activity had what?
Endless.
5 in the end?
I think there was 6 or 7.
5. I think 5 main ones. It kind of fell off at the end. There was 2 more. I can't really remember.
Fell off after the second one.
I think it fell off kind of after the first one. It's not my favourite horror film, to be fair.
Yeah, but the first one is iconic because
it is iconic. Yeah.
In terms of like its, budget to box office ratio, it's, it's a super successful movie.
Yeah.
And so is the Blair Witch. And that also was a massive stepping stone for upcoming filmmakers to say, look, you don't need a massive budget to make a really successful movie.
Yeah.
And it started off this whole array of found footage movies.
And that was at like the start of the internet as well.
Yeah, you had Cloverfield that came out at the time, and you had Creep, which came out a little bit after that. There's all, and obviously all the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yeah.
Started off this big found footage craze, and started popping up on YouTube.
Well, it made it accessible to people, didn't it? Because it was like, you don't, like you said, you don't necessarily have to have all these big cameras or all these studios.
You just
and
have your phone.
You can have your phone. You can have your laptop. You can have like even those like crappy little camera phones that we all used to have, like the flip phones.
Yeah.
Like my Nokia 3310 could take a picture, so why couldn't it video a little ghosty going about my house?
Exactly. It's all down to imagination and creativity. It's amazing.
So that kind of covers the beginning of horror genre as far as literature goes, because those are obviously the earliest backdated found stories and files that can relate to horror as a genre. But now we go into film, which is what we particularly know about. With you being a composer, myself being a director, this is our niche.
This is our forte.
This is our forte.
We love film.
We love
we
film.
Live and breathe it.
And we love horror film at that.
Horror film is just the one.
Exactly. And obviously we both had our experience in kind of different areas of film. We both explored. I went a bit American there for a second. But we both explored different genres. We both explored different techniques and different like areas that we could go into.
Yeah.
But horror is something that we just keep coming back to every single time, and it's where we feel we can be our most authentic selves.
It is.
And
100%.
That's kind of why Bad Boo is here, pretty much.
Bad Boo is sort of evolved.
Yeah.
And it was sort of born from our passion for horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Horror film again is, one of the things that brought us together.
Yep.
And it's one of the things that also that we share a massive amount of passion for, but also share an immense amount of time talking about it.
Yeah.
All these different horror movies.
Even just day to day.
We spend our spare time when we're not busy watching
horror films,
talking about them,
making horror quotes at each other.
Yeah.
We'll be out in public and we'll see someone that has like a striped t-shirt on, and we'll just nudge each other and be like, Freddy Krueger over there.
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
You
never
hopefully
know.
we're not dreaming.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first, I suppose you could categorize it as the first horror movie.
Yeah.
I suppose would be is a French silent movie by Georges Méliès. I think that's how you pronounce it. My French is not great.
Or Georges Méliès.
Yeah.
Méliès.
You have to go and search out. We will leave the link to this film in the description of our YouTube. So
you can
listen
find
on YouTube,
it.
go and look at it. And the film is called Le Manoir du Diable.
Yes.
And it came out in 1896. And it is known in English as The Haunted Castle or The House of the Devil. So would you like to give a little description of what the film is about and what it shows?
Of course. So it's a short silent film that is originally French, as is Georges Méliès, the director. It's often called the first horror movie of all time because it was shot on actual film. It was the first kind of moving image that showed spookier and kind of more supernatural elements to it.
Yeah.
It conceived of like bats that would appear out of nowhere, characters that looked like devils. There were randomly appearing skeletons, really creepy castles.
Your classic sort of gothic sort of staple
exactly
items.
And obviously the entire thing is in black and white because that's all they had at the time.
Yeah.
It's a really like important piece of like media to be knowledgeable on.
Yeah.
If you really appreciate film and if you really appreciate horror film.
3 minutes long.
It's 3 minutes long. Yeah, about that.
It's 3 minutes of your time. You know, it's one of those films you just gotta see.
It's shorter than a YouTube ad.
It is.
Yeah, those 5-minute ones.
Yeah, I hate YouTube ads.
Go and watch Le Manoir du Diable.
Yeah, or The House of the Devil.
The House of the Devil.
Type that one in on YouTube.
Got a better ring to it, doesn't it?
It does. It's great.
Yeah.
You know, and there's many practical effects in it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like being like the first, you know, quote unquote deemed horror movie.
It was so ahead of its time, though.
You know, smoke effects.
Mm-hmm.
It was like transformations.
Vanishing acts.
Vanishing. It's clever.
Mm-hmm.
You think at the time in the late 1800s, seeing that, you think, what am I watching?
Mm-hmm.
It freak you out.
Or to be able to actually watch something to start with.
Yeah.
And then to find out that it's actually bats and dead people.
Yeah.
Not real dead people, but the characters obviously pretending to be devils and dead people and skeletons. It must have been absolutely mad when it came out.
Yeah.
People must have thought like that something was possessing the world, that all of these strange things are being shown on a screen. But that's how it all started.
Yeah. That is the dawn of horror, really.
Yeah.
In terms of visual, cinematic horror.
Yeah.
That is it.
And of course it was only a year afterwards, so in 1897, that the infamous Bram Stoker released Dracula in its written form, which is obviously the iconic vampire myth that has kind of been the baseline for so many films nowadays.
It's the go-to source.
It is the go-to source. And anytime you think written vampire, you think Dracula. Anytime you think vampire, you think Dracula.
Yeah, well, you go and, you know, if you're writing a vampire movie or a novel, that'll be like that's kind of the grandfather of where you go to.
Exactly.
You go to that book, you know, for inspiration. That is it.
Yeah. And even with things like Dracula, obviously that can be its entire own episode, which I'm sure it will be one day, because there are historical ties to it, like Vlad Tepes, who was a, I believe, Romanian leader, and he was apparently a vampire. Nobody knows. It was a big accusation at the time. But he was also apparently a big inspiration for the character of Dracula in Bram Stoker's writing. So we'll go into that at a different time, but even that has such historical impact of bringing these real life people and ties into these like novels and making them completely different worlds that people hadn't yet seen before.
It was going into parts of people's brain that didn't know it was there. But again, it became so popular that it's funny that the people that would have read it would have had the scope to imagine what was being written. Yeah. You know, and haven't really had anything like that written before. Yeah. Obviously, you had, you know, the Bible and other supernatural kind of religious, you know, texts, literature out there. Yeah. But to have something that was quite horrifying, you know, for people to actually unlock that imagination of something so terrifying, really, in some way. Yeah. Must have been a very weird experience. But
obviously, the majority of the kind of darker tales that are in the Bible or the Quran, or this is really bad, but I've forgotten the name of the Jewish one. But all of the darker tales that are in these religious books and these religious texts were usually told from a standpoint of teaching you a lesson.
Yeah, morals.
Yeah, it's all about morals, having a moral compass, and what that religion is trying to kind of teach you based on their own findings and their own ideologies.
Yeah.
Whereas I think these films were the first time that these things were being shown without context of learn this lesson from this. It was being shown for the sake of it, and it was being shown to make you scared.
It was.
Which...
sort of an unknown emotion.
Exactly, it's a completely unknown emotion.
And it wasn't really seen, I suppose, as a way of being entertained.
Yeah.
Why be scared?
Mm-hmm.
But again, it found its place in culture.
It found its place because people need to be scared. People have that necessity, like we were saying earlier, with the adrenaline and the dopamine.
It's as necessary as being happy
and the rush.
Or excited.
Exactly.
It's a natural emotion that people should experience to
Yeah.
some degree,
Exactly.
in a safe way.
And there's
That is the
even
important part.
there's even a little like saying that goes along with being scared that I think a lot of people should adapt into their life. We're getting very philosophical here for a second, but people say that the best things in life come from you being scared.
Yeah.
Which I think is like really heavily true.
Yeah.
Like if there's a new job that you're starting and you're terrified, if there's an interview that you're going to and you're terrified, if you're going on a date and you're terrified, like these are
usually you want something good to come out of it.
Yeah,
It usually comes from a place of excitement, and that again that adrenaline
Yeah.
that we were talking about earlier.
exactly. Obviously, that doesn't apply to all avenues of life.
Not every avenue.
not every avenue of
There's
life.
a very
Unfortunately, because the world isn't the perfect place.
yeah, of course. it
But for the things that are in your control, use fear as your tool and do what you can with it to turn it into excitement, because that's what it's there for.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's exhilarating.
Exactly. And going back onto the subject of fear and movies, taking it off that little philosophical rant for a second. 1922 was the release of the first kind of horror predominant feature film.
Yeah.
The infamous Nosferatu.
Yeah.
There were films before this that did dabble in small horror areas. I believe that they were predominantly not released in, but like were made throughout Germany, as was Nosferatu. But because they were predominantly like drama and romantically inclined, Nosferatu was deemed like the biggest horror film of probably all time.
Yeah. It has its place.
Mm-hmm.
It has its, it is that example of, this is the blueprint
Yeah.
to follow, and we'll go into it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But obviously, being an unauthorized version of the Dracula story,
Supposedly,
it's all down to interpretation.
Mm-hmm. That
Again,
obviously,
it's from German filmmaker F.W. Murnau.
yeah.
Murnau, sorry. Got mixed up with the F's and the W's and the M's. Murnau
Mm-hmm.
created that story.
He did.
And, well, from a foundation that was set from Stoker, really.
Yeah.
And, again, it was the first sort of big screen adaptation of a vampire
Mm-hmm.
in that respect, in terms of the classic story.
And it sets such a huge silhouette for what vampires would even look like nowadays.
Yeah.
People still use him as such a big inspiration, like the character of Nosferatu.
Yeah, Count Orlok was he is, again, it's like he uses these stereotypes,
Mm-hmm.
that we know now,
Yeah.
in a hindsight sort of retrospect,
Mm-hmm.
that he is sort of the embodiment of what we think vampires are,
Yeah.
but yet he subverts that,
Mm-hmm.
because Western culture has changed how we view vampires,
Yeah.
and their appearances.
100%.
Canine teeth being the sharp ones, but
Yeah.
Nosferatu, two front teeth,
Having
rat-like.
glittery skin.
Yeah,
This is the skin of a killer, Bella.
yeah. These types of vampires, such a stark difference, yet
Yeah.
comes from
And the same idea,
place.
the same principle.
It's the same place, Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously, from Nosferatu, we had the release of Dracula, then in 1931. Now, this was deemed the first big official book to horror film adaptation obviously done by Bela Lugosi, who then had one of the most also very impactful vampire like visualizations.
Yeah.
But
it's the classic look.
you can still see a very distinct tie-in to that of the Bela Lugosi Dracula and Nosferatu, the original from like 8 years prior to that.
Story-wise, very similar. But vampire design-wise, very different.
Different, but you can see the
similarities, and crossovers.
You look at it and your cogs turn.
Yeah.
I was going to say your clogs turn, but if your feet are turning, that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, please go to a hospital. Your feet are turning around. This is not The Exorcist.
Make sure your cogs turn, not your clogs turn. Obviously, the Dracula film did much better than Nosferatu because of the entire copyright infringement case that did happen. And of course, Bela Lugosi's Dracula was backed by Universal as a company, and they were obviously very big in Hollywood already. So after the kind of 1930s, and after they had already released Dracula, then there was made Frankenstein in the same year of 1931, and that just obviously because it was now a big corporation who was doing horror as well in the western side of the world.
Horror became like the staple sort of.
Horror became the staple genre.
Universe in some ways.
Yeah,
could be deemed one of the first film universes. Now we got all the Marvel ones and the Star Wars.
Yeah.
The first proper universe really was like the Universal horror ones. Obviously later backed by the Hammer horrors that released the same kind of stories.
But those are told from like a British perspective, aren't they? The Hammer ones.
Very the same stories, but using British actors and just doing their own version as a competition almost. In some way of showing this is our version, that's your version, trying to compete.
Yeah.
Still the same thing and still just as iconic. Yeah.
So going from then 1664, or even before that, when we were just talking about the Greeks and the Romans, all the way up until 1931, that is the origin of horror, essentially.
That is it in its sort of general basic form.
And so with that, we will be moving on to our next segment, the Isle of Fright.
In this section, we wanted to, the Isle of Wight, this being the first episode where Jodie and I are from, the beautiful, scenic Isle of Wight, beaches, varied landscapes.
You made it sound like we were from the beaches.
We're from the beaches of the Isle of Wight. We're born by, in shells, and we're like mermaids.
I wish I was born in a shell and that I was a mermaid. Mermaids are actually really scary. Sorry, separate subject.
They are.
They are really terrifying if you see like the kind of realish looking ones.
Yeah, freaky.
Another episode.
A Just Eat advert or something. There's like a mermaid in it. I don't know.
And there was that Katy Perry music video where people were eating sushi off of her, and she was like a mermaid at one point. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that we didn't have sushi eaten off us, by the way.
No.
So.
I don't really. No, we don't want that either.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened. Not going to happen.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of our DMs.
But anyways, going back to the subject
of the Isle of Fright.
Isle of Wight. I was born on the Isle of Wight.
I was born on the outskirts of London.
Jodie moved to the Isle of Wight
pretty recently. But it is one of my favourite places in the world, hence why I moved here.
It is so beautiful. It's full of, like I say, beaches and different varied landscapes, and got a very varied history of like dinosaurs and Victorian history.
But it is especially renowned for its paranormal history.
It's very much renowned for
that. So not only is the Isle of Wight actually built on an intersection of, I think they're called ley lines, which are basically electromagnetic fields that naturally create themselves around the Earth. The Isle of Wight is smack bang on the intersection of one, supposedly so.
Yeah.
But there are so many tales on the island, like all the way back from when civilizations first started here.
Hence its nickname, Ghost Island.
Hence its nickname, Ghost Island.
Amazing nickname. I did not know that before we started this.
Exactly. And me researching this as like a newish resident, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
It just fits our vibe.
It really does.
It's perfect.
Maybe that's why I was drawn here. You never know.
Yeah, that's why I was born here.
Sam actually is a ghost, guys.
Yeah, and I'm not real. If we ever get onto doing video podcasts, you won't see me.
No.
Unless you're a clairvoyant, no way.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Well, that's why I'm actually having this conversation with you, is because I'm clairvoyant. So yeah.
But if you do want us to do video content, we do have a Patreon page. Just very quickly,
go and follow us on Patreon for a small amount, which is less than a coffee. You can go and subscribe on there to us, and we will be releasing exclusive content throughout the entire month to our Bad Boo crew.
Yeah, the group is called the Boo Crew. You get exclusive access to, me and Jodie will be reading some scary stories that are too scary to read on, YouTube and Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You can join live Q&As, film reviews, and, it will just help us out massively. Like I say, less than a coffee. That's all it costs every month.
And you'll be contributing to the videos as well.
Yeah,
so we'll be getting you to
chances.
send in your own ghost stories, even your own ghost pictures if you have any.
Yeah.
It'll be your way of being able to contribute to what we do here.
And being part of our Boo Crew.
Exactly.
It's the community we really want to build.
Yeah.
And we just want to, shed a light on
your stories.
Your stories, and a great community of people that are so interested in horror movies and paranormal and the spooky. So go and follow our link tree. Go click on that. Go follow the Patreon.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
And even if you don't want to do that, go and follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook.
TikTok.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say TikTok.
There we go.
Go and follow us on TikTok twice.
Yeah. Follow it. Make another account. Follow it again.
Yeah.
Like
all our videos. Repost everything.
Yeah.
Save them. Send them to your nan.
Yeah.
She loves videos.
She loves TikTok.
Especially those cute little Facebook ones with like
She
the
loves
AI
it.
generated things.
She loves TikToks.
Yeah.
And she's especially going to love ours.
Mm-hmm.
So, strip all that back. Please go and just check it out.
We are very appreciative of any support that anybody shows.
Yeah.
And also don't forget to like this video while you're at it.
Yeah. If you're listening on YouTube again, like this.
Subscribe. Turn on the little notification bell.
Follow us on Spotify if you're listening on there.
Mm-hmm.
Just any support you can give.
It's all greatly
We value it.
appreciate it so much.
But anyway,
moving swiftly on.
Back to the subject of the
Isle of Fright.
Which is our section, the second section of our podcast.
And for this, we will be focusing on one predominant place on the island that is said to be haunted and relates to the subject of the day. So, where we're talking about the origins of horror, we've also found out that it's mainly tied into Gothic horror, and that was obviously kind of the times of the Victorian era, right? Because it's like the 1800s, the early 1900s, that kind of crossover.
Yeah.
And one of the most iconic places on the entire island that was where it was at in the Victorian ages is Osborne House.
Osborne House.
So, for those of you that don't know, the Isle of Wight was extremely popular in the Victorian era, which is when Gothic horror was booming, as previously mentioned. And that is because wealthy Victorians from London, just absolutely, who wanted to splash a little bit of cash and go away for a bit, but without going abroad completely, would come to the Isle of Wight. But with that, with the Gothic horror obsession at the time, these wealthy Victorian people were also bringing with them ghost stories, seances, and an obsession over spiritualism, which was even contributed to by Queen Victoria herself, who owned and built Osborne House.
Yeah. It's, even that in itself could be deemed like enough to call it Ghost Island.
Mm-hmm.
The Queen herself.
The Queen herself.
The Queen of England, the ruler.
Yeah.
Her house being there, East Cowes on the Isle of Wight. We'll leave a link to Osborne House on English Heritage website.
Yeah.
Go and check it out.
It is an absolutely beautiful place. For those of you that
gorgeous.
don't know, it is a huge mansion type building with beautiful grounds around it, and it is built in the style of an Italian type villa, as it was Queen Victoria and Prince Albert who created it as their getaway from London, and also as a little kind of love shack nest for each other. If you do visit, there are tiny little V's and A's, like for their initials, carved into the buildings, like imprinted on the cutlery. It's absolutely everywhere.
It's like their own heavenly sort of resort. Wasn't
Exactly. It's their own heavenly little getaway from London. And because it wasn't too far away, it meant that Queen Victoria was still able to be the Queen.
Yeah.
And go back
Wasn't
to
travelling too far abroad. It
Buckingham
was
Palace, do all her little Queenie things.
Queenie stuff. But
Yeah.
she, it was her little place to be right by the seaside. Have
Exactly.
a beautiful view, just to be away from that sort of London life.
And obviously, with that being in the 1800s, what the Queen was doing was what was fashionable at the time. So, where the Queen had been visiting the Isle of Wight and was obviously happily married, had children, not kind of everything goes to plan, I suppose, even when it does seem perfect for a little bit. All good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
And in that sense, the passing of Prince Albert happened, leaving Queen Victoria in a mourning period for the rest of her life. And in this time, she predominantly spent a lot of her time at Osborne House, as it was the place that they had made the most memories in, essentially.
It is.
It's where her iconic black dress comes from. And it's also said that because she spent so much time here, she spent so much time away from London in those years that she actually even ended up dying in Osborne House as well.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. But during her time where she was alive, but she was in this mourning phase, which I think is probably the area where a lot of people would kind of recognize like her face if they were to see like pictures or drawings of her from the time, because she has that iconic high cuffed black lace type dress.
Yeah.
Which
what
is
you think about when you think
exactly
of
when you
Queen
think of Queen
Victoria.
Victoria, that's what you think about. But in that time, and with the rise of spiritualism, Queen Victoria, it's said that she actually used to host seances at Osborne House.
Yeah. It's a little hobby there that the Queen had.
So that's obviously like completely mind-blowing.
It's bonkers.
That obviously it was a very common practice for like more common people at the time to interact with past ones, because there was like the plague and lots of diseases, and was cholera around at that time?
Don't know.
I failed history, so I'm not quite sure.
I didn't do it.
But there was so many diseases at that time, and obviously there was a lot of wars, like all across the globe.
Yeah.
But it meant that's why there was such a spike in spiritualism, because people wanted to contact all these people that they had lost suddenly.
Yeah.
And it meant that in 1861, when Prince Albert did pass away, from then on, like I said, for about 40 years, for the rest of her life, she would hold seances with people that visited there. And now it's even said nowadays that her ghost haunts Osborne House.
I before you did this research, I did not know that she was Queen Vic herself haunts
The Queen
so
Vic,
local,
pictured
to
on
us.
the EastEnders pub.
Yeah.
The Queen Vic.
Yeah.
Haunts
The pub.
Osborne House.
Not really the pub.
No.
But she herself is there.
She is there. Apparently so. Apparently so is Prince Albert. People aren't quite sure if his ghost is there or not.
It wouldn't
But
surprise
the
me.
Queen Victoria one is more recognised, as there has been a figure seen multiple times of a woman in black who stands in one of the windows.
It's got to be her, right?
It has to be her. It makes the most sense,
Who
doesn't
else
it?
would be wearing black like
Exactly.
that in Osborne House?
Apparently some of her children are also seen there as well, so even more of a reason for her spirit to linger in such a place.
Yeah. All her associated loved ones.
Exactly.
And it was a place of love.
Exactly. There is also a story of a murdered maid who haunts the inside of Osborne House, as well as the story of a ghost in the gardens who is believed to have been a man who had buried some treasure there around the time that pirates would visit the Isle of Wight. But when he came back to get his treasure, he was so sick that he never found it, and he actually ended up dying on the grounds of the house.
That's mad.
Crazy.
Poor guy.
So if you want us to go and visit Osborne House,
yeah,
and if you want us
we
to,
would love to do that.
That's the dream one day, guys, is to turn the podcast into a ghost hunting and investigating
/ podcast / film
podcast review. Film review. Obviously, still doing all those types of things. But if you want to see monthly ghost huntings, let us know. Put it in the comments. Put it on Patreon.
Yeah.
Go and tell us where to go.
Through Patreon, there will be a Discord.
Exactly.
Group where you will be a community for us all to connect and chat and share experiences with each other.
You can talk directly with us. You can talk with other people that are interested in these subjects.
Your support means that we're able to go and do these things.
Mm-hmm.
We'd absolutely love to go and explore so many places. How many did you counted fairly recently? How many haunted places there are on the Isle of Wight alone?
Speculating there was about 87 places just on the Isle of Wight.
And the Isle of Wight is about a 26-mile sort of horizontally from left to right, or right to left, of course. It's 26 miles long, so very small. But you think that many haunted places in such a condensed area.
No wonder it's called Ghost Island.
Yeah. Dinosaur Island and Ghost Island.
Dinosaur Island. Maybe the dinosaurs are ghosts.
Ghost dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Next episode.
But seriously, we'd love to go and do that. So any support you can give, just Patreon, subscribe.
It's less than a coffee.
We'd absolutely love it. So if you want to see these types of videos, go for it.
Which brings us nicely onto our next little section that you will be able to help on through Patreon by sending us your pictures and your stories. This leads us to Boo or Bust. For Boo or Bust, in this section, we will be getting pictures, videos, and personal accounts of things that have happened that we can either find online for the moment or until you guys send us in your stories yourselves. So, for today's episode, just to keep it all in line with the subject of Gothic horror, the Victorian age, and Osborne House, I have got 2 pictures that I have found from fairly recent Facebook posts about paranormal things that people had captured at Osborne House. And then for the third one, we have a little video of something at a slightly similar place that we'll be going on to explain later. But it's a very confusing but spine-chilling video. So if we go on to the first image, this is from a lady on Facebook who posted it as part of a group called Love the Isle of Wight. Basically, people who come here and they come and visit will post these experiences on Facebook so that people can recommend things for them to go to next, or so that they know where to come back to next year.
Cool little things.
Cool little things, whether it's going on, finding a lovely little beach that they really liked, or in this case, posting a picture of an orb that they saw and took a picture of at Osborne House
itself.
So we will leave a link in the description to these pictures if you want to go and view them for yourselves.
See what you think. Let us know.
The first image we are going to be analysing is in the audience room at Osborne House. So this lady has written a little bio on here and attached 2 pictures. So I'm just going to read that for you. We were on the island a week ago, visited Osborne House, and I must admit that it's absolutely stunning. I took this photo in the quote-unquote audience room, really just to get a picture of the beautiful chandelier. But zooming in closer, I saw this face peeping out of the curtain. Now, I don't know if this is a trick of the light or what. I know the house is supposedly haunted, but I welcome other opinions. So, if you go to the comments, which there is 274 comments, by the way, these are all people saying that they've seen their own premonitions there. Someone's even claiming that they saw Queen Victoria sitting in a chair and they felt Prince Albert watching them while they were walking around the house. There's other people saying that it's just lens flare from the camera, that it's light bouncing off from the bulbs in the window that's in the room.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a little look into it ourselves and see what we think.
Have a little examination
Exactly.
of the image that was taken here.
So-
by this lady on Facebook.
There is like one singular image, but then the other one is more zoomed in.
Yeah.
The first one is basically showing this like a really extravagant chandelier in the middle of a room.
Very, very beautiful room.
It's absolutely like stunning. There is gold detailing on the ceiling across all of the little like painted bits above the windows. The actual window frames are like gold plated. There's like really luscious red fringed curtains in the background. A very fancy portrait of, I'm not quite sure who that is, but it's probably some type of royalty. And if you look at the chandelier, just under the right hand side of the chandelier on the left red curtain is a green dot, which is said to be the orb that this lady is talking about. Now, if you look to the right of the chandelier, like further so at the top of the curtains, there is also a little green orb.
Yeah.
But
very much could, seeing both of those, as an initial insight.
Yeah.
You think, both the same, probably reflections of, the chandelier.
Yeah.
And I first saw this image yesterday. And that's what I thought. This is my initial idea because the orbs glow green and obviously there's green detailing on the chandelier. But obviously if you zoom in a little bit closer to the lower green orb, there's something a little bit different.
There's a little surprise waiting there for you. Sorry, I glitched for a second there, guys, and my entire voice just went. I went because
there's a little giggle there. Yeah, it's a funny subject.
Couldn't decide if I was going to talk or if I was going to laugh. But
boo or bust is a funny type of thing.
It is. But at a glance, you look at the picture and you think, oh, those are just two little like shining bits of light that are just bouncing off of the actual chandelier itself. But then when you get closer, if you zoom in to the orb that is underneath the chandelier, you can slightly see a very grumpy little face.
On the left of the orb.
On the left-hand side of the herb.
Of the herb.
Of the herb.
Of the herb.
On the left-hand side of the orb when you zoom in. Now, when the lady said that there was a face in the picture, I was like, no, there isn't.
I definitely couldn't see
I was like, this is just a trick of light.
Very speculative.
I was like, it's looking sunny outside. Like, you're just having a good time and, like, there's nothing actually there. But I appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
But then you look at this picture on the second bit and you're like, oh my God, that is a face.
Yeah.
There is so definitively a face in that second bit.
If you look at the rest of the curtain, it's so, you can see all the detailings. It's very plain.
Yeah.
And then where like the little fraily bits are at the bottom,
yeah,
you can see that. But where this so-called face is, it doesn't match up with any rest of the texture of the curtain.
Yeah.
That's why it stands right out. And it's very, very clearly what appears to be a face.
Of an old man to me. I don't know if any of you guys have seen The Corpse Bride, but if you know the character who is like the claymation for the dad of Victoria, so the father of the girl that's being married off, that is what this little face looks like. It looks like the dad from The Corpse Bride.
Go and check out yourself.
Yeah.
The link is in the description.
We will leave a link to this in the description. So, Sam, obviously I found these images.
Yes.
So based on your opinion, is this a boo or a bust?
I'd say it's probably a boo.
A boo?
I
also think it's a boo.
I'd say so.
How boo is it out of 10?
I'd say a good 8.
8?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a high boo.
I think that it does stand out. When you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
That to me is a good boo.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm also going to give it an 8.
Yeah. So let us know what you think of boo or bust number 1.
Number 1 is a solid boo. So for number 2 here, we have, again, another encounter at Osborne House. This one was taken more recently. I'm not going to read the lady's name, but you can see it on the Facebook post. Again, this was in a public forum on Facebook. So we will leave a link down to it in the description of the video so you can go and see the picture for yourself. And it says, I went to Osborne House and took this picture. You can clearly see a ghost dog in the window. So fascinating. A few people have said they can see a lady holding it. When I was there, my phone battery drained really quickly. So much energy in this house.
Really interesting.
This picture wasn't as popular as the other one, but also the other one's been up for a year. This one's only been up for
nearly a couple of weeks now.
2.5 weeks-ish.
Couple of weeks.
So we got 6 comments. Some people saying it looks like a spaniel. Other people saying that they can't see anything. Now, this picture shows the outside of the building, which is a very faint orange colour in that classic Italian villa style.
Yep.
There is then a white rimmed window with the actual window itself being consistent of 6 panes of glass on 2 grids.
Yep.
So it's one of those push-up windows where there's 6 at the bottom, 6 at the top, and it's split in half. Now, if you look in the top section of the window, in the middle square on the bottom row, there is a little face in that window.
Yeah. This is the only part that I personally can see.
You can see this part.
You know.
So apparently we're looking for a spaniel and a lady.
Yeah, a dog and a lady.
So initially when you look at this picture, my eyes are just drawn to that corner immediately.
Yeah, it stands out.
It stands 100%. Out. You can see it straight away. If anything, I think was there being glared on by light, you would be able to see it slightly in the bottom bit as well.
Yeah.
But there is nothing in that bottom window at all. It's completely clear. So I think that it could be a little ghost dog.
Very much could be.
Maybe not necessarily a dog, but I think it's definitely a ghost.
I think that, I think with or without someone telling you it's a dog, I think you could look at it and you can sort of...
You can think that something's there.
Or it can't. Now looking at it again, kind of looks like a guinea pig.
Don't say that. I don't like guinea pigs. Oh.
A ghost guinea pig at Osborne House.
Ghost guinea pig.
Yes, we have haunted guinea pigs on the Isle of Wight. So, ghost pigs, please come and visit the Isle of Wight and check out the guinea pig ghosts. But in all seriousness, that is something I can see. But the second thing that people are saying with this lady, something I struggle to see personally.
I can see the lady slightly. So where the little ghost guinea pig spaniel is in the bottom left corner of this pane, if you look slightly up on the left-hand side, there is a dark spot which looks like the eye of someone that's looking at you. Now, if you look in the pane that is just off to the left of that, it does look like there is a white outline that's kind of slightly curved and looks like the shape of somebody that would have like a really puffed out bob for their hair. And just revisiting that middle pane again, you can slightly see in the middle of it that there is a lightly kind of darker grey area just above the
guinea pig dog.
Guinea spaniel. So I'm assuming that would be where the lady is. But apart from that, because that one is like that saying that there's a lady there, I think is like a bit of a push.
Yeah,
I can't really see anything.
What I can see is a cloud.
It does look more like a cloud than it looks like a lady.
Obviously, again, the thin curtains in the window.
The more that I'm staring at it, the more that it looks like a guinea pig, and I hate it.
It makes it more terrifying for Jodie.
It really looks like a guinea pig.
So if you have any experiences with ghost guinea pigs, please DM us.
You know when they have
Jodie will love it.
No. You know when guinea pigs have like the stripe down their head and then it like opens up to their little mouth bit? Yeah. That's what that looks like.
I can see a guinea pig.
If you zoom in, it looks like a guinea pig.
Let us know if you can see the guinea pig.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you can see the guinea pig.
But
send us pictures of your ghost guinea pigs.
Yeah. We'd love to see the ghost guinea pigs.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the white curtains on that, I think that mixed with clouds, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because the day doesn't look very sunny to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it looks like a bit of an overcast.
So what are we saying? Boo or bust?
I think if we're talking about just the guinea pig dog, it's a boo.
Yep.
But saying that both of them are there, I'm saying it's an in-between. Because I don't know. I can see something... Cloud-wise, it looks like a weird shape.
It's a boost.
It's a boost. But yeah, I personally think that it's like a... If you're going on a scale, boo-bust scale, 5 being the middle, I'd say it is like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah. I would definitely... For the spaniel guinea pig, I would give it maybe like a 6.
Yeah.
But I think for the lady, I'd give it like a 4.
Yeah.
So we'll
That's where I'll go.
we'll settle
3
at
or 4.
a 5 for a boo.
We're in a boost.
So definitely 1 is taking it for today.
So let us know what you think.
Yes, please do.
About that.
Okay, so for the final boo or bust and the final little chatty part of this segment, I've got a video for you to watch.
Link will be in the description.
The link will be in the description. It's only 35 seconds long. It's a very short video. But for those of you that don't know, there is a place in the southwest of London called Hampton Court Palace. And it's in Hampton Court. It's just next to Kingston. And it is renowned all across the UK because it was the home of Henry VIII.
Yeah.
Who is obviously an infamous British ruler during the Tudor times.
Yeah.
He was renowned for killing and divorcing his wives. Yeah. He also created the Church of England because he wanted to be able to divorce his wives because it was a predominantly Christian state at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hampton Court is a very pretty and very famous place.
Yeah.
Now,
very much so.
On the Historic Royal Palace's YouTube page, they released a video nearly 11 years ago now, so 2013. Not 2013, that's some bad maths. Oh no, it was 2013 that it was released.
So about 12 years ago.
About 12 years ago now. YouTube's wrong.
Yeah.
This video has over 500,000 views. And it's titled Hampton Court Palace CCTV Ghost Skeletor.
Interesting.
It's a very interesting title.
Yeah, it is.
So there is writing at the beginning of the video, which I'm going to read out to you. And then I'm going to let Sam watch the clip. And then we're going to have a little discussion about it afterwards.
Yeah.
So, are you ready?
Yeah. We'll talk about what's going on in the clip.
Let's go.
As it goes.
So, the following footage was captured on CCTV at Hampton Court Palace in winter of 2003.
This is what it says at the start of the video.
So then the video turns on and it is CCTV footage in black and white that shows some emergency exit doors being
swung open. Absolutely thrown open.
Thrown open really aggressively.
Yeah.
For a hooded figure to come out and close one, close the other, and then close the first one again as it bounced back open.
So there must have been some force behind that.
Must have been some force behind it, yeah. So, that's the video.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Creepy.
It is really creepy.
It's very you could say it could be someone dressed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like a monk style outfit, but
exactly.
If you look into at the figure there, the face is so bright and white.
Yeah.
And one thing that we spotted when we watched this together, this clip,
mm-hmm.
Is that the legs are missing, seemingly
missing. It doesn't have any legs. Like, you can see it has like one hand. You can see it has half a face.
Yeah.
But from where the light is hitting in this image, it is hitting directly. Obviously, it's nighttime, but there's still moonlight. There's still like a direction of light.
Yeah.
For the camera to be able to pick up on something.
Security lights.
Otherwise, it would be completely pitch black.
Yeah.
But you can see the definition in the step to go down. You can see even the definition in the actual like tiles on the floor to go in.
The brickwork.
But you can't see any feet.
No.
Which you would be able to see even a little bit of.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my first thing about Mr. Skeletor is he has no feet.
I know.
Like.
And I think it's quite an iconic video. That
it is really iconic.
If you live in Britain,
mm-hmm.
you would probably have seen this video at some point.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into the paranormal, you probably would have come across.
Mm-hmm. And if you
Hampton Court,
if you go and do some digging in the comments of this video, there is actually a comment recently near the top, actually, because somebody only commented 10 months ago, saying that there was a different podcast where the creator explained that the staff who had dressed up in costumes for an event around this time weren't actually in the area because it had been cornered off and nobody had access to it.
Interesting, isn't it?
So that, I think,
adds fuel to
throws
the fire.
A big spanner in the works. So where you can think, oh, it's an employee, it's somebody that's dressed up, it's an actor, it's a performer. Nobody had access to this part of Hampton Court on this day.
Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely insane. And something that I noticed is when you zoom into the actual person, Skeletor, Ghost Rider looking thing,
Yeah.
the actual outfit that they're wearing looks really similar to that of a cloak that people would wear when they would ride a horse.
Yeah.
Which would obviously be the only method of transportation at the time.
Yeah.
But you can even see like the rimmed edge of the cloak where it would fasten in the middle, because those would usually be like strips of like white or gold or like painted fabrics on the edge of it to make it decorative.
Yeah.
And you can see the shape of the hood is that of one that would have been from that time, because it's so wide at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
It's a really haunting video. I remember watching this for the first time when it came out. I was 13 years old, because it was obviously recorded in 2003, but it was released in 2013.
Yeah.
And this went viral. It hit the news at one point. And I remember watching it and being like, oh, I know that place. I know where that is. Like, it's really that haunted.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's absolutely wild.
It's got to be, it's Hampton Court Palace is, again, another massive place. And it's iconic, and it's got a lot of history.
Yeah.
Especially all the way from, the Tudor times.
Yeah.
And it's become a very staple piece of, like, British culture, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is. It's such a staple, and it's just so entirely baffling, though.
It is.
But that's part of kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So what do we think for our boo or bust number 3?
I think it's a boo.
A boo?
I personally think it's a boo.
3 boos in a row, everyone. Can I get a round of applause?
It's a boo, boo, boo.
A boo, boo, boo.
There we go.
What are we rating this boo on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd say a good 8.
8?
Or a 9.
Oh, 2 solid 8s. And what was the other one? A 5?
5.
So not that bad. I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back for that one.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good little
find.
Research for that one.
Great find.
Which leads us swiftly into our next section, the Silver Scream. So, we're going to give you a quote for this movie, and I'm going to need you to tell me if you know what it is.
Yeah.
This is for you guys at home, as well as Sam, because I'm pretty sure that he knows this quote. So, comment now while I'm reading it if you think you know it, and then go back to your comment and reply to yourself telling us if you got it or not.
Yeah.
So, the quote reads as follows. Does this word not sound like the death bird calling your name at midnight? Beware you never say it, for then the pictures of life will fade to shadows. Haunting dreams will climb forth from your heart and feed on your blood.
It's got to be one thing.
End scene.
Yeah, a little clue to your... There's a movie we were speaking about earlier.
We mentioned it earlier.
Very iconic, and we said we'd be
very
coming back
iconic.
to it.
Drum roll, please. The film we're talking about today is, of course, 1922. 1922, Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror.
There it is.
Such
It's
a magnificent
the one.
title as well.
It sounds very grand.
It really does. A Symphony of Horror, which is the
it's
only
grand.
way to describe it.
It is. It is. And obviously it's more commonly known as Nosferatu. That is like it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously recently had the, reboot / reimagination.
Yeah.
102 years after the original came out.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Eggers wrote the new Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie.
Absolutely amazing.
A lot of people question Count Orlok's design in the new one. Big moustache and very much like just grim, plague-like. And obviously very much represented what vampires were to be believed to look like. Was undead, which is just I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think that he had a great design, but none of that would have been possible without Robert Eggers' immense inspiration. The reason he got into horror films, which is the original
Nosferatu. Yeah. So obviously, as mentioned before, this film was directed by F.W. Murnau, and it was released in 1922. It's because I keep reading it as 20 and then like another 2. So like this was released in 1922.
There we go. Amazing.
Thank you so much. It was part of the German expressionist movement, as it used a lot of weird angles, a lot of distorted sets and shadows, and created a very dreamlike atmosphere, which was kind of predominantly featured and explored and originally sought out in German expressionism. So, obviously, previously, like mentioned earlier, this tale is loosely based on the 1987 written story of Dracula by Bram Stoker. 1897. Did I say 1997?
1987. That'd have been very recent.
I'm getting all my dates mixed up, guys.
There's too many numbers.
Yeah.
You know, can't blame us.
Can't blame us.
Yes.
The 1897 original written novel by Bram Stoker called Dracula. Obviously, people speculated that it was loosely based on that, but it was an unauthorized release of that film, and because of that, it got a huge copyright claim.
Massive drama going on.
Yep.
You know, and Stoker's widow was sued the filmmakers behind Nosferatu, and it was eventually decided that the court would destroy, ordered all the copies of the movie to be entirely destroyed.
It wasn't even Stoker himself; it was his wife.
His wife, after he had passed.
Yeah. And
obviously he was a bit bitter about that and about her husband's work being,
apparently
seemingly
exploited,
plagiarized and exploited to the extreme. And the court had ordered it to be eradicated.
However, as it's said in Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
And so there were some prints of survival. There are some prints of Nosferatu that did survive. Yeah. And that is why we're able to watch it today, which ironically gives it kind of an undead legacy of its own.
Yeah.
As it wasn't meant to be here anymore, and it literally came back from the grave.
Yeah.
Which is really ironic.
There's such an irony behind that. And it's like it's given the story its sort of own like vampire-esque arc.
The story is world. Undead.
It's an undead story. It's come back from the grave.
It's a complete like cyclical narrative almost, because it just starts where it finished.
Both fictional and non-fictional.
Yeah. So obviously where it was loosely and apparently based on Dracula, the one thing that kind of separated Dracula from Nosferatu was how they perceived their main vampire, aka Count Orlok.
Yeah.
So that's because Count Orlok, he's not suave and mysterious. Well, he is mysterious.
Very mysterious.
But he hasn't got that like cool, reliable kind of tone that vampires usually do have.
Yeah, that sort of alluring presence.
Exactly.
Definitely the opposite.
Yeah, Orlok isn't like that at all. He is a rat-like, monstrous, plague-bringing creature with a bald head, like long fingernails, a very eerie, shadowy silhouette, which became absolutely one of the most iconic characters of all time.
Yeah, through and through.
Yeah.
And his long claws, shadowy silhouette, German expressionism all over. That is, and it's like I said, it became the very building blocks of horror as we know it today.
Yeah.
That is, Count Orlok is horror, and the film itself is what birthed.
Yeah.
The many things we'd see, especially in the sort of classic 1980s, 1970s movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, long silhouettes.
Yeah.
Or Halloween, the lighting. And even Dracula that came after it, a few years after, nearly a decade later, the harsh lighting and very, very expressionistic shadows. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And that is so symbolic of disease and decay and death and basically all of these things that you think of immediately when you associate horror to the real world, which was especially even more important and even more impactful after things like World War One and the Spanish flu.
Absolutely.
Because they were just absolutely conquering the world at this point, which is so horrific.
World War World War One would have just ended recently,
and
the Spanish flu, been a thing as well.
Yeah.
And people were just coming out of the back burner of such horrific, like, world events that were just, wiped people out.
Yeah.
And it just took people, away, just unexpectedly.
Exactly. But I feel like that's why this explosion of Nosferatu was so important at this time. And it's because it acted as like an escape for people.
It did.
As much as it was horrific and it's got all of these factors in it, like disease and decay and death, that so many people had already experienced in the real world.
Yeah.
It was that coping mechanism that we were talking about earlier.
It was.
Of watching something because it was so similar to what you had been through, but it was
fictionalized and sort of, it was embodied through a character.
Exactly. It wasn't real.
Yeah.
But it was relatable.
But yeah, it sparked those fears and sort of, I don't know, compartmentalized that fear into, pigeonhole. This is the fear.
Yeah.
In one place.
Exactly. And it really does, like, pigeonhole that fear, like you said, because it is so scary to watch.
It is.
You've got the, like, expressionist cinematography techniques of the long shadows and the eerie landscapes and the real unnatural movements of the actor.
Yeah, he's got that sort of permanent shrug of his shoulders.
Yeah. And the makeup at the time, I think, is absolutely insane for the time that it was shot at.
It certainly stands.
Like the prosthetics.
Yeah, stands its ground today.
Yeah, it's completely striking.
It is.
As soon as you watch this, and as like if you are a fan of horror, so you can actually find it online. So we'll leave a link to that if we can still find it.
Yeah, the whole film is on YouTube.
Yeah.
As we found it
Yeah.
fairly recently.
It is about an hour and a half long, so it is like a full film length.
Yeah.
And it is a silent film, of course. And it's in black and white, and it has like the small written cue cards on it.
Yeah, of course. That was the only way, obviously, because it was before microphones.
Yeah.
Were like adopted into film.
Yeah.
And sort of a big thing, properly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their only way of conveying dialogue.
Yeah.
Was through, cards.
Yeah.
Like title cards on the screen.
But I think because they didn't have dialogue, it makes the actual visualizations of the scenes so much more impactful.
You rely on
what you're seeing.
the mise en scène.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything in the scene. That's what you have to rely on it.
Yeah.
Without sound, it's like, right, we haven't got sound. That's why it's very melodramatic. It's very striking in its, cinematography.
Yeah.
It's definitely a staple piece of art.
Well, there are still scenes from that are so iconic nowadays, like the classic one of him opening his eyes up in the coffin.
Yeah.
And that really gruesome kind of invasive close-up of his eyebrows and his eyes staring at you. There's also the famous scene of him walking up the stairs towards Ellen's bedroom and his shadow reaching for the doorknob.
Yeah.
And it's these huge arches of fingernails that are like blasted onto the wall with a light.
Yeah.
That just create these magnificent silhouettes that have influenced generations of filmmakers and just artists in general.
Yeah. 100%.
And what we were saying earlier about them bringing things to life and even creating a legacy for them is because they are blending things like folklore and plagues and vampires and the original Gothic horror like aspects with real life kind of fears of like the other, like outsiders, disease, like all of these foreign objects
that
that people were so scared of at the time.
Yeah,
were just brought to fruition.
Yeah, disease and like obviously with the, all the things to do with the war and politics. The fear of even at the time the fear of people from outside.
Yeah.
Is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's also what it represented was like bringing those fears to life.
And it also, for the people that were in Europe at the time and who had kind of first access to this film, obviously the creators of Nosferatu weren't part of any big company like Universal or anyone like that.
No.
So they didn't have these sets. They didn't have these really fancy, like, things to build. They didn't have all the probable equipment that they had at these larger companies.
Yeah.
So they had to travel to these castles. They had to travel to these towns. They had to travel to all of these places to capture these scenes and to make this fiction world real.
Yeah, they had to, even there's scenes in the movie of them on a ship, like a boat. And obviously you can't, there's no sets to sort of replicate that. And obviously back then it would have been quite hard to do so on a set. Obviously there was no green screen, no blue screen or anything like that. But there's like some real hardcore dedication to get out there and go to all these different locations just to set the mood and to make the world believable to audiences.
It's just absolutely incredible. And to think that some of the it's rumored that some of the actual actors and some of the extras that were in the film itself were just like common townsfolk from the local areas that they were just happening to shoot these scenes in.
Yeah.
And they were being told to pretend to be plague victims, which after a war and after something like the Spanish flu must have been really scary to even pretend to have those things.
Yeah.
When you're in the mountains and you don't have access to all these towns and these cities.
Yeah.
And you're relying on these folklores as part of your culture, and these are stories that you're telling your kids to go to bed to.
Yeah.
Or to keep them in check and make sure that they're behaving. And now you have to kind of pretend to lean into it a little bit.
Yeah.
That must have been so scary and so intimidating to try and do.
Yeah, it's been entirely intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it'd sting.
Yeah.
Having to act like that. And that's probably why a lot of it, on the surface, it looks quite melodramatic, but these are people that were very, very fresh out of some really, really terrible mass world events.
Yeah.
That wiped people out.
100%. And so, of course, what we were saying about the mixture of the uses of German Expressionism and the real life kind of like chasing of scenes that they had to do by going to these places and involving real people with real stories and making those folklores come to life like before their eyes.
Yeah.
All coincided with this really symbolic and like infamous soundtrack that goes with it, which would have been played with a live orchestra at every single screening.
Yeah, every screening of any film in that era, in the silent era, always with a live orchestra.
Exactly.
If it was a big movie, often, it'd be a proper event that people would go, pay money to go to, dress up nicely to go and watch these films and have a whole live orchestra play.
Yeah.
As they would in a theatre.
Which leads us perfectly into the next segment of the show. Shivering soundtracks. For Shivering Soundtracks, this is going to be a bit of a conversation and dissection of the soundtrack for the film that we are talking about in the episode. So obviously we are talking about the 1922. First time I've got it right.
There we go. No more twos added on.
1922 version of the original Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horrors. It's even in the title. It has a symphony of horror.
Yeah. It's like the music is such a vital part of this. And like of any film, I think it was very much conceived from the beginning that music was, it's fundamental to storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, the original score composed by Hans Erdmann, you know, because of the massive, you know, copyright law suit and the, you know, the destruction of the copies, most of his music had been lost.
Yeah, so that does mean that a lot of the versions nowadays are kind of fragmented
and yeah, probably because a lot of the score that he'd written had probably been destroyed with the film footage,
which is such a shame.
You know,
because it's such a vital piece to
the puzzle.
Yeah, it's such a big piece of the puzzle.
As it is to like any film, and you know, sound and music in movies, the lack of or presence of.
Well, it was
so important in movies.
It was the turning point. Not only was it the turning point for visual horror and bringing these themes to life, but it was also the turning point to understand the importance of bringing music to horror.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things that wouldn't be the same if they didn't have music in the back of them. The iconic Psycho stabbing, that would never be what it was if it didn't have that, like, tremendous, like, striking soundtrack in the background.
Yeah.
Or
the
Jaws.
Iconic stab, you know, violins, shrieking.
Yep.
In Psycho, all the Jaws are very, very low cello and double bass.
It just fills you with dread as you're
notes.
watching it.
Dum, 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 dum.
Yeah.
That it's so simple yet so effective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without that, you know, you hear a lot of these soundtracks and you just know what they're from.
Yeah, and it really brings all of these horror films to life, because obviously before we had conversation, before we had dialogue, humans had music. And it was
drums,
something that...
music out of drums and skin and
exactly
animal skin.
It predates all conversation.
Yeah, music is can arguably be seen as the first language of communication. That's why it's so woven into worldwide culture, and well, not just culture, but into the very essence of a human being.
And not only because it was the original storytelling technique, but also because it was the original, like, feeling enveloper. It makes you feel something.
It really does.
And that was first discovered in music.
Yeah.
And it's gone on to be discovered in books and reading things and making yourself scared and jump, and now it's in film, and all of those things are just being combined into the genre of horror. It's
like an overload of feeling.
Exactly.
You know, and you're being visually stimulated whilst, like, audibly stimulated, and all at the same time.
The exact reason that Nosferatu is such a pinnacle piece in horror genre history is because it was the colliding of music and horror. It was the colliding of the, like, late romantic and dramatic soundtracks that had been so widely used before this. When you think about the works of, like, Wagner and Brahms and things like that. Like, nothing had been done like this before to create tension and dread and suspense. And to make you sit on the edge of your seat and really think, oh my god, this feels real.
There's something so special about the music, and, you know, silent movies very much relied on music to tell you how to feel. And, you know, in this, you know, regard, it was very much a mixture of romantic and fear and dread and suspense all intertwined, you know, and without that score, you know, without title cards, you wouldn't know necessarily what the director wants you to feel. And that's exactly what, you know, Jordan Peele, you know, famous you know, director and writer of horror of the modern era, he one of his very, very great quotes that he said about music, the importance of music in horror movies, is that he actually said that the difference between horror and comedy, because obviously he comes from a comedy background, is simply the music. And I think that is so true.
There's
many video examples on YouTube. You swap the music around. You can put horror music behind Mr. Bean. It would kind of give it a bit of a disturbing edge.
It really would.
The other way round. You know, put all funny noises and sort of dubbed in, you know, laughter.
It's just a meme.
it'd be a meme.
Yeah.
It'd be funny. It is the music drives it,
Mm-hmm.
and very much the birth of that came from films like Nosferatu with its suspense.
100%. And I think, can you just imagine for a second, and this goes for you guys listening as well, just close your eyes for a second and imagine that you are in that cinema and you are the one seeing Nosferatu for the first time on the big screen, and there is a big orchestra playing in front of you. That
Grand.
orchestra is going to play that piece of music different every single time.
Yeah.
Just
different
purely
players.
based on the fact of being people.
Yeah, different players. It could be, the fact that the score and the film, were destroyed / lost.
Mm-hmm.
The edit of the film that we see and the score that we hear
No one's
may
really
not
going to know what it's like.
it might not be the very one that was originally created.
Yeah.
It could be just a mashed together version of all the different, different versions. You might have different scenes cut out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The score was, probably largely improvised in parts. That's what makes it so unique and adds to the film's mystery.
Yeah, and it just means that every single time that you would be watching it, and even now with the amount of different soundtracks that people have posted it with online, you are getting a different feel every time that you watch it.
I mean, we recently went to the cinema to go and watch. We went to see The Conjuring.
Yes.
Again.
Mm-hmm. The original
Conjuring as like a re-release before the new one, and there was a trailer for Nosferatu, the original, but it had been redone with a score redone by music existing from Radiohead's music catalogue.
Yeah.
I'd never seen anything so weird.
It was like being
It's like disco lights going on.
an acid trip in a haunted house.
Yeah.
That's the only way that I can describe it.
I don't know who decided to put Radiohead behind
I know.
Nosferatu. It might work in a weird way, in a very edgy way. But again, it shows music can make it add to its weirdness,
Exactly. I wonder how that worked out for the people that came up with that.
Yeah, I'd love to know. How bizarre. It's, again, music's power.
Yeah.
In movies.
It really is. And it's so important, even more so. I think most importantly in horror as a genre.
Yeah. It can really, really freak you out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with the new Nosferatu soundtrack, which combines all of the very elements of the original movie.
Especially those like bellowing and like booming chords as he's like coming up the stairs with the iconic shadow and all those types of things.
And the film plays with shadow
so
much and leans into German expressionism.
Mm-hmm.
But the music in the new one is so booming and so big and terrifying, yet it can very much switch between completely overloading the orchestra to create something so mellow and gentle and romantic. It's an amazing score. If you haven't heard the new Nosferatu score, go and check it out.
If you haven't heard the old Nosferatu score,
go and check it out.
Go and check it out.
Let me know what you think. Do you prefer the new Nosferatu? Do you prefer the old one? We want to know.
Yeah.
They're very different, but yet they're very much similar.
Or do you just not like Nosferatu?
Or do you not like it?
Are you a Nosferatu?
No, Nosferatu. Let us know.
Did
And
like
let us
that?
know why. I did like that. let us know. Let us know why. We'd like to know your opinions on the film and anything else, any interesting facts you might have about it.
So that takes us into the next episode. Not episode? Next episode.
Already skipping forwards.
No, not yet. No. We're not quite done here.
Not quite done
that takes
with our
us
tale.
Into the next section of the episode. A little bit of ghostly gossip.
Ooh.
So, ghostly gossip is going to be the segment of our show where we usually would read a specific story or tale from you guys, but where it's our very first episode and it is the debut of Bad Boo, we have found a little bit of an urban legend / some ghostly gossip that actually came from the Nosferatu film itself.
Yeah.
So, have you heard of the Max Schreck urban legend?
No.
You haven't?
Well, I have a little, but I think you should go into a little bit more detail on this.
So, for those of you that don't know, Max Schreck was a German actor who played Count Orlok in the original 1922 Nosferatu.
Yeah.
He basically had a performance that was so convincing that because with the makeup and everything, he looked so gaunt and so scary, and he got into his character so impressively well that people rumoured that he might be an actual vampire.
It was rumoured at the time. Even then, not even like in sort of social media culture where rumours fly around like bloody wildfires.
Yeah, one of the PAs on set just posted a tweet and said like, this guy's a vampire.
He's a vampire.
Yeah.
No, this was a rumour and actually,
the same
very,
way,
very poignant one.
The same way that the witch trials happened.
Yeah.
It was one little rumour that went around an entire town, that went around the next town.
A dirty little rumour.
Dirty little rumour
lies.
that ended up destroying this guy's career pretty much.
Yeah.
Which was so unfortunate. So he was actually a really talented guy, which is why he plays his character, Nosferatu, so impressively well. But unfortunately, in German, his surname of Schreck, which is spelt Schreck, not like green Shrek.
No, he's not green.
Very different.
Not green.
But the actual German word Schreck translates to terror or fright. So people thought that his name was too perfect of a fit for it, and it kind of played into the fact that he may be this infamous creature of the night. And obviously playing in a film like Nosferatu, where the word Nosferatu kind of means the living dead in Romanian folklore.
Yeah.
It didn't really do too well for this guy.
No.
And it got worse by the fact that he was actually really private and really kind of like subdued in real life.
Yeah, he is.
It just added even more mystique to his character. And people just said that he behaved really strangely on the set and that he really rarely ever broke character pretty much.
He was full on method acting.
Full on method acting.
Or was he just being himself? I'm just a chill vampire.
Who knows?
On the set.
But with a name like Shrek.
Maximum Terror.
Yeah.
Essentially. That's his name.
Oh yeah, Max Shrek. Maximum Terror.
Yeah. And certainly put that on to
Makes
audiences,
sense.
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, it all kind of summed up into this rumour. Understandably so. There are so many things that were going against him. There was his name. There was his like unbelievably great acting that obviously portrayed too well into real life.
Yeah.
There was his shy and privatized demeanor. And then there was also the fact that after the copyright lawsuit, he claimed himself that the film was cursed.
Yeah.
And this just gave everybody a reason to believe that he was never acting and he was just playing his true self on the screen. And this actual kind of urban legend became so popular that even years later, like we're talking decades later, there was actually a film made about the urban legend itself.
Yeah, which is the 2000 film Shadow of the Vampire, which starred
Willem Dafoe
as Max.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, that's a really, really interesting film. And again, it plays into the idea that the film director of the film, in the world of the film, actually made a deal with Max Schreck to have him finish the film. But he was actually a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
A vampire playing himself. And that's what was really interesting concept. And it again, in the year 2000, what was it? 78 years later, after the original film and probably after all these rumours.
That was impressive. Some quick maths there for you.
Yeah, it was. I'm really trash at this. But amazing that it brought this rumour back into the public domain, and people may not have even known about this rumour.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on this urban legend.
Yeah. And
it brought it to new audiences and new people, and it resurfaced that rumour, made it fresh again. It adds to the whole film's mystery again.
Mm-hmm.
A whole new set of people were thinking, oh, that's weird. I'm going to go back and watch that movie.
Yep.
And I think, oh, it makes it even more scary.
And imagine being Max Schreck and almost 100 years later, 100 plus years later, watching the new Nosferatu and seeing the Skarsgård.
Yeah, Mr. Bill Skarsgård.
Mr. Bill Skarsgård playing your Count Orlok.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a rumour going around that he's a real vampire.
No, he does not.
Kind of stings.
Stings a little. It must sting.
It must sting.
Oh, it stings.
But yeah, that's our little ghostly gossip for today. So what do you think? Do you think that Shrek was just method acting and that he was just a crazy performer who got really too deep into his role? Or do you think that he was pushing the limits of his abilities as a creature of the night?
An undead.
And he wasn't just after
vampire.
blood, but he was after fame as well.
He wanted to shed a little light on the old vampire community.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Exactly. So let us know what you think in the comments.
And obviously the ghostly gossip section that we just spoke about, that would be the point where you come onto Patreon, you know, like we said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Again, cost less than a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
Absolutely want you to send in your spooky stories, whether it's ones that you've made up.
If you knew Matt Shrek.
If you know him.
Give us your accounts.
Yeah. Just, you know, let us know in there.
Yeah, if you've seen a ghost, if anything creepy has ever happened to you, if there's some phenomenon, if you have really vivid nightmares that have come to fruition in real life.
Or just any strange experience,
Anything
whatever it may
strange, paranormal, conspiracy-based, anything like that. Let us know.
By joining the Boo Crew.
Yeah.
You know,
Join the Boo Crew. Join Like Minds.
We'll feature you in the show. We'll talk about your ghostly gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Chat about it. Amazing.
And we will tell your story to the world.
100%. So go and follow that link in the description.
Another thing that will also come out of joining our Patreon and being part of the Boo Crew is a little mention in our spooky spotlight. Now, I know you're probably wondering what the spooky spotlight is, and normally this will be the section where we will shine a light to one of our supporters or listeners to say thank you for the efforts that they've been putting in to supporting Bad Boo. This will be going towards one of our Patreon users just as a way to say thank you and to recognise them. But with this being our first episode and it being our debut, tonight's spotlight can only really fall on one person. You. The brave soul that we're talking to right now and that's listening to our voices here in the dark.
Without you listening, we'll just be two voices calling out to the other side. You never know who or what will answer. So we just want to say thank you, really, for being here. And we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. That it brings us, right now, and you, to the close of today's episode.
So with that being said, if you have enjoyed today's episode into the journey and birth of horror, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for Bad Boo updates and new episodes, as there's plenty more fright, flicks and folklore to come.
You can also haunt us on socials at Bad Boo Productions, where you can interact and leave suggestions for future episodes or contribute through polls and posts, and of course through our Patreon, and a Bad Boo Crew community, where you can be part of our very videos and very episodes, and any support you get will just help us. Help us make more stuff, expand, do some ghost tours, ghost walks.
It will help us make things for you.
It's all for you, all for the community.
Yeah.
All for our amazing horror fans, paranormal, enthusiasts. So again, go and check out that link and just go and leave us a follow or subscribe to us right now. Just do it.
As Tesco says, any little helps.
Yeah. Well, every little helps.
Every little helps.
Yeah. Well, any little helps. That's our little motto.
Might get a copyright claim on that.
Yeah, please.
Might do a Nosferatu on it. Everything will get burned.
Yeah. Burn the Bad Boo. We'll be an urban legend. No.
Anyway, that's been all from us on this blood-sucking tale for today. We've been your haunted hosts, Sam and Jodie, unravelling the dark so that you don't have to. And until next time, keep your lights on, your doors locked, and remember, the shadows are never empty.